So I know you left a few comments, and I wanted to respond to them because I get what you're saying. I have another opinion to offer that may not sit well with you, but I get what you're saying. And this is in regards to if they voted Trump as speaker. If he were voted speaker and did any of the forementioned, he would lose all respect I have for the man. The worst thing Republicans can do is get drunk on power and lose any credibility of being constitutionalists, as so many claim to be. That's not how we do business. At least I sure as hell hope not. This isn't about getting even. This is about doing what's best for the nation and all of her people collectively. If not, we're no better, respectively. Okay, so I totally get what you're saying. So here's the argument I would make, though. They threw the Constitution out a long time ago. I mean, really even before Trump came into office, but they definitely, the Democrats and the rhinos, showed that they threw it out. They threw it out. And most definitely since Trump has, decided to run again, all these illegitimate cases that all these these AGs are bringing against him, and some of these corrupt judges. There's no evidence to do any of this. It's a total hit job. They've claimed that people like me and many others that are MAGA Republicans or conservatives, whatever, that we're domestic terrorists because we support Trump, because we speak up. Look at what they did to the J6 prisoners that are still in jail. For what? Because Capitol Police or FBI, who were undercover, which they're known for doing that, opened the doors and ushered people in. I mean, everything about that day was a lie. But so the Democrats, most especially, and the weak Republicans who stand by and have just let it happen. But the Democrats threw the Constitution out a long time ago. They were Trump said he wanted to have National Guard there on January 6th. Nancy Pelosi, actually, she did have the power to do that, and she said no. She wanted chaos. So all of these people, in their own ways, they're not even acknowledging respecting the Constitution. So it goes back to our founders. What did they say? What did our founders say if we find ourselves in this predicament? There was a way out for this. It was, your militia. That in the last case, the worst case scenario, the people will have to rise up and take their republic back. They didn't say, you got to stay within the confines of the Constitution, because really it meant at that point, once nobody's respecting it anymore, and clearly they're not. I mean, they haven't been for a long time. The very fact that they even attempt to go after gun control is bullshit. It's an amendment that shouldn't be touched. But they create these crises any chance they get to push this gun control on people. And yet, I live in Illinois. Okay, Chicago, people see the numbers in Chicago. And Illinois is like the highest gun control laws here. And yet, look at all the deaths. So it's not the legal citizens, but they want to take the legal citizens' guns. And that's the founders wanted us to have guns to protect us from the government when they became like this. So I think really it actually is constitutional. If Trump were to go in as speaker temporarily, first of all, he's great at negotiations, so that would be a plus. But also, I think that he would have every right to subpoena any of these people that have illegally gone after him. Absolutely. Because just like the founders said, if the people find themselves in this situation, it will be dependent upon them to save their republic. We don't have a constitutional, in order to have what the paper says, to have our rights in the Declaration or the Constitution respected and in the Declaration of Independence respected, we have to have government that does. We don't. We've been living under tyranny of a corrupt government that has totally thrown the Constitution out the window. Just think summer of 2020, the summer of BLM's rage, all in the name of quiddity and reparations and black lives, and the hell with everybody else's lives. We'll set police cars on fire. We'll terrorize people. They did it all through 2020 in the major cities. And nobody arrested them. If they were arrested, they were let go right away. I know it for sure because Kim Foxx, who is I always get it confused, the Attorney General in Chicago, she just let them all go. We have Pritzker, or these Democrat governors that are letting the worst kinds of criminals out of jail just to create chaos. Look at the border alone. That's a treasonous act. They're not controlling the border. They're flooding it. It's been going on 3 years now. An open border. So my point is the Constitution is not being respected. So to try to play within the lines of the Constitution is pointless. This is that point that the founders mentioned in the Declaration of Independence when they said it would be, to save the republic, it would be contingent upon the people that they would have to rise up and take the republic back. So if you want to try to play within the Constitution, no, we have to save it and get it back from them because it's not being respected. So I'm all for operating within the Constitution, but nobody's operating in the Constitution right now. And Trump, most especially during his first term, he was strict about following the Constitution. Like, he gave it back to the states. You decide how long you're going to stay closed. That's what the Constitution says. He followed it strictly. And yet, what did the Democrats, what did some of the rhinos do? They showed that they weren't going to respect it. They were going to become lawless and let BLM terrorize people and burn cities down, and Antifa. They let a bunch of corrupt organizations and institutions and hospitals push this diversity, racist agenda, while they also donated to BLM. And yet nobody's been held accountable for any of that. But they held the doors open on January 6th for Trump supporters to walk in just looking. You see the videos, everything's been a lie about that day. And yet those poor people are still in jail. For what? They were ushered in. So the Constitution was thrown out long ago. So, as the founder said in the Declaration of Independence, it will be up to the people to save it. And that may not look like what we're used to seeing, and that everything should be just so. And I'm not saying that Trump would do anything illegal. He hasn't. He's been the most investigated man ever, and so they couldn't find anything on him, so they made up charges that everybody knows. You look into, it's all bullshit. So I don't think that he would get in there and do anything illegal, of course. No, but I think he has every right to subpoena these people so that they are exposed for who they are. And I think that would be necessary, because this is that place where the founders talked about that if the American people ever find themselves in that place where they are forced to have to save their republic, then that's going to be how it has to be. And I would rather that than us going into a civil war and bloodshed being on the street. At least subpoena power and calling these people to be held accountable for their actions. That's how it should be. And that's how we would save our republic.